welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. So today we're going to be doing a highly requested video. I've thought about doing this for a while and I just haven't really gotten around to it, but you guys really want it, so we're doing it. We're going to be going through my tarot and oracle card collection. This is my updated video. I made one like years ago. The collection is completely different. Like, it's grown a lot since then. So we're going to be going through my collection, and as we go along I'll be kind of just sharing little tidbits about the deck, about things that I like about the deck, maybe the things I don't love about them, just like pros and cons kind of thing. This isn't like a bragging like, oh look at all my decks kind of video. That's why I've been hesitant to do in the past, but everyone really wants it. I hope this video just like informs you if like you're looking at maybe purchasing a deck and you don't really know what to get. I'm hoping that this is helpful to help you choose like what deck you want. And I also just want to point out the fact that this is a collection that I've accumulated over the years. I didn't go out and buy all these decks at once. A lot of them were also gifts as well. So yeah, I am very grateful for my collection, but I am no means trying to brag or show off in any way. This is just a fun video and you guys wanted to see it, so we're doing it today. So give me a moment. I'm gonna make sure I grab every single deck off of my shelves and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I remembered to grab every single deck. Some of them are like scattered around the house or other spots in my room, so I think I got them all. But anyways, so I want to make this video a little less chaotic, so I've created categories. I have absolutely no idea what order these categories are going to be in. I'm just gonna go with it, and then I'm gonna add titles into the video later. All right, so just because they're right in front of me, I'm gonna start with my Earthy Decks first, and then I'll just be able to like move them over. We have Woodland Wardens, and I guess this could also go under like an animal deck category, but I don't exactly have like a ton of animal decks. I have a couple of them, but anyways. This is an oracle deck. It's a 52 card oracle deck and guidebook by Jessica Rue. It's a beautiful deck. I love the inside of the box too. It's like it's got like little leaves and flowers. It's very earthy. Guidebook is beautiful. It's black and white, but it's a nice guidebook. Cards are honestly, I love these cards. So something I enjoy about these cards particularly is that these cards, they just shuffle really nice in your hand. They're almost like the size of a tarot card, even though they are an oracle card, but they're gorgeous. So they're animals, nature, that kind of thing. This entire video, I'm sorry if I'm looking into the viewfinder a lot in this video. I'm just gonna have to do that so I can make sure the camera is focusing on the cards the whole time. I'm not, you know, I hate when people look at the viewfinder their entire video. And I try to look at my camera lens, but it's just for this type of video, I need to make sure it's actually focusing. But yeah, so this deck honestly is very intuitive. The cards, they always have an animal and a plant and then a main word. So for example, this one is the quail and gooseberry anticipation. So it gives you a little bit of something to work with on the card without going to the guidebook, which I enjoy. I love animal cards, but not everyone resonates with animal symbolism or can intuitively read it right away. Like, there's some animal decks I've seen before that are gorgeous, but they'll just have the animal and they won't have like a main word or anything. And some people can read with that, but not everyone can. So I think it's really nice that they do that. Honestly, I have nothing negative to say about this deck. This is one of my favorite decks. It's always right on the marker, like it's very accurate in my readings. Next, I have this Green Witch Oracle. Absolutely beautiful. The thing I like about this deck is it's gorgeous, but I love the book. It almost feels like it's leather, but it's not. Like, it's this fake leather. I don't know, but it's got these little grooves and indents. I don't know if the camera can actually pick up on the texture. I don't think it can. But it's a really gorgeous book, and it's all like, it's full color. The pictures in here are gorgeous. Now this one's so unique because it has like the main little quote meaning, like oracle meaning. It has then the information on how to actually cultivate that crop. So it'll tell you how to grow it in your own garden. It'll have the magical correspondences here too. And then it also has a spell. So this book is amazing, not just as an oracle deck for reading, but you can actually use this as a companion in your spell work. So I really like that deck for that reason. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. The cards are beautiful, has all the symbols for the 4 elements here. And then we have the cards. They're very vibrant. They shuffle beautifully. They're just really nice to use. And again, like you're not guessing what the plant means. It has the main word here, like the key word. And then it also has the Latin name of the plant. There's lots of different symbolism that you can also utilize in your reading. So I really, really enjoy these cards. They're pretty. They have a lot that you can do with them. And realistically, you can incorporate any deck into your spell work. But I mean, yeah, these ones like make it really easy to do so. So if you are looking for a deck that you can do that with, I highly recommend checking out the Green Witch Oracle. All right, so this next deck could technically be either in the earthy herbal category, or it could be in my astrological moon category that I have as well. But we're just gonna put in the earthy one because it is a very earthy deck. It is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. Now I'm not gonna get into too much detail about this one because I did do a thorough walkthrough on my video that you guys can check out. I'll link it below if I remember. The book, beautiful. It is black and white, that's fine. It has a lot of information. So in this book, you're gonna get information about the meaning of the card, the upright, the reverse meaning, the astrological ruler of the herb, and you're gonna get the guidance message, but not just that, you get so much history and background about the herb that's on the card and information about how it's been used over the years in different traditions. So it's very informative. Honestly, I've been really enjoying this deck, not just to read it, but just to learn, because I've been learning so much about the medicinal purposes of herbs, and I'm super interested in that, so I really like the deck for that reason. But it is gorgeous, guys. This deck is absolutely beautiful. Focus, focus, there we go. These are the backs, and the 2 of them executed this deck so beautifully. The book is beautifully written, the cards are beautifully done. It is one of my favorite decks, like art-wise. It's just, come on, focus. It is just gorgeous. Oh, you got some upside down here. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through all of them again because I have a full walkthrough. So if you wanna see all the cards, go check out that video. But I literally have nothing negative to say about this deck. This deck is also a 10 out of 10. I use this deck a lot. I do pick it up a lot for my readings. All right, so this next deck is a mushroom deck. Super cool. It is the Midnight Magic, a tarot deck of mushrooms by Sarah Richard. It is a fairly new deck. It was one that I pre-ordered. Now this one, there's a few little things that I wasn't happy about for the quality. Now I do love the way the deck is organized, the book, and I do like the things you learn with it, which I will go into detail about, but I was not a fan of the fact that the deck does not technically fit the box. They have this weird cardboard thing in here. And I know it's just little things, like it's just like, I'm just being a little nitpicky, but like these are little details that I kind of look for when I want a good quality deck. So when it doesn't fit nicely, it's like, okay, like this was like an afterthought that was put in there because the deck doesn't actually fit the box. So it's like, these things could have been maybe planned out better. They're little things, and these things happen, especially with smaller artists. So it's definitely possible that, you know, they couldn't do much about it because they're on a lower budget. So maybe they'll fix it in the future. Now, another thing about this deck I want to show you is I actually modified it. So when you get this deck, it's not going to be gilded gold. I just want to tell you that. So don't get your hopes up. I did this myself because when I got the deck, it was just plain like white sides, but they were dirty looking. It looked like it was poorly handled in the factory. It wasn't like of the highest quality. The images are beautiful, and some of them they do look like the printing wasn't the highest quality because they look a little blurry. It kind of looks like it might be this style, but some of them do look low resolution. So it's not perfect. This deck definitely has a lot of character. I'm happy I did this. It was a pain in the butt to do this because I didn't have a proper like book press, so I literally just improvised. with like a tissue box and like my mom's dumbbell weight and stuff. It was bad. Like I got paint on the cards and I had to go through each card with a Q-tip and alcohol to get it off and make them look clean. But it paid off because they're really pretty and I like them now, and I did not like them this much when I first got them just because they did look kind of dirty. So I don't know if every deck is going to be like that. I may have just gotten a dud, but just something to keep in mind if you are interested in getting this deck. There are a few little quirks about it, but overall I do enjoy it. You have the main words here, so Ace of Wands. We have the common name for the mushrooms, so this is Burn Moral, and then we have the Latin name underneath. There we go. I'm trying to get it in the camera, but we've got a bit of a glare happening. But they're beautiful cards, like they're really cool. Some of the images are a little low res. I'm trying to, maybe I can find one that I mean, but people have made like the similar comments on the like the Amazon review. Can you stop focusing on my face and focus on the cards? Thank you. Yeah, so they are really nice, and I mainly got this deck because I really like mushrooms and I wanted to learn more about mushrooms, and the book is pretty satisfying with that. It gives you a little bit of a fact about the mushroom, and then it has the upright and reversed meaning. I will say that the major arcana kind of give you a little bit more than the minor arcana in terms of information. So I was a tiny bit, just a tiny bit disappointed with the information about the mushroom. I thought it was going to be a little bit more extensive, but that could have just been my really super high expectations. I was just really excited for this deck because it was a pre-order, but I really didn't know a lot about it. So with that being said, I do really enjoy this deck. I don't really know what to rate it. Maybe like a 6 out of 10, just because of the little things that kind of went wrong with it. Pretty deck, but there are some downsides to it. All right, so my next one, I guess this could go like in an angel category or something, but I don't have enough cards to do that, so we're going to put it in the earthy one because it is kind of earthy as well. And it's the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray. And who's the artist? Lily Moses. The cards are beautiful, very beautiful. You guys have mentioned this deck in the comments. Some of you have told me that this is one of your favorite decks. So yeah, these are the backs. And the cards have different categories. We have like different people, we have the seasons, we have directions, I think, or let me go through the book for a second because I'm totally blanking, but they're really gorgeous. So the categories are Sacred Ones, Guardians and Messengers, Warrior Symbols, and Seasons. A few different categories. I feel like this deck can cover a lot of bases because it has so many different types of categories, different types of cards, and the book is very well written. Kyle Gray is really good at the book. Like his books are just really good, really informative. This is the kind of deck that if you really want a good reading experience, like some people buy decks and they don't use the book much, right? They just go intuitively, read intuitively, and you can do that with this deck. But if you're looking for a deck that has a good quality guidebook that gives you a lot to go off of because you really want to get a deck with a nice guidebook, then this is definitely one of them. It's really nice. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is my Elemental Power Tarot. This is by Melinda Lee Holm. Now this deck is really cool. I like it. I was disappointed because when I bought it, I didn't know it was a pip deck. So for those of you who don't know what a pip deck is, it means that it's not fully illustrated like the entire deck. It means that they only illustrate the major arcana, and then the minor arcana are like, if it's the 5 of Cups, it's 5 cups, or if it's like the 6 of Wands, it's 6 wands. And then like every card's like that. So like the only difference between the 6 of Wands and the 5 of Wands is the number of wands. There's no other symbolism, there's no other story being really shown in the cards. Like, it's not as satisfying to read, and I don't want to be mean because they are beautiful cards, but in all honesty, pip decks feel a little bit lazy to me. It feels like, oh, I really just didn't want to illustrate a whole deck. I just kind of want to illustrate the major arcana and that's it, and be done. I'm not trying to insult the artist in any way, but that's just how I feel about that. So when I bought this deck, I had no idea, because if you look at the cards that they put on the box are just very strategic. They're mostly major arcana, only 2 minors there, and then they are the ace. And the aces always really look like that anyways, right? So you wouldn't know that it's a pip deck based on that card there. So it's very misleading, which is a little frustrating. I don't even think they say pip deck on the box. Like, I don't see it anywhere. So I really wish people were a little bit more straightforward about that. So in all honesty, I don't really pick this deck up as much as I'd like to. I love the images that are illustrated, so it really is a shame. The box is really nice though. It is magnet, like this. Has a nice book, like it's a decent size. Fully, like full color. So it's really beautiful, like it's a beautiful book. We've got charts too. I don't think that's gonna focus very well on that, but we have like the card, the Hebrew symbol, Hebrew Esoteric Association, Astrological Glyph and Sign, Astrological Esoteric Association. Like there's some cool stuff in here. And then the cards are very pretty. So these are the backs. And then we have the cards here. Another thing I will say is for the court cards, there's another downside to the court cards. It is very hard to tell the difference between the queens and the kings. There's no words on the cards, and they're so similar that you literally have to memorize them, or else there's no other way to tell. All right, took 10 years to look for them, but let me show you an example. So this is the Knight of Wands. Now the Knights are pretty easy to distinguish. They look fairly different, but for the Queen and the King, they're very similar. And it's the same case for every single like suit. They're just super similar. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea which one is a king and which one is a queen. I have to open the guidebook. I can't tell you. Maybe if I use this deck all the time, I would have memorized it by now, but I don't pick it up enough, mainly because of this. Like here is the 7 and 8 of Pentacles. See what I mean? Like pip decks are just less fun to read because you're literally just counting coins, or you have to look at the, I don't know. It's disappointing. And I'll show you guys some of the major arcana, because the major arcana that are illustrated, they are really beautiful. And that's why I was super disappointed, because like I love the major arcana. So like I would have really loved to work with this deck, but I just don't feel drawn to because I don't love the rest of the deck. So it just kind of ruins it a bit. But here's the Moon card. Like, it's just such a pretty style. Here's the Fool. The Lovers is really interesting. And another thing with this deck that the artist intended to do, you'll notice that all of the cards are just objects. There are these scenes that are set, and there's no people in the cards. And the artist intentionally did that so that you could put yourself into the scene. You know, like you're not stuck with these random people. You could actually put yourself in the scene and imagine it, which I think is such a cool idea. Like that's just so unique, and I've never really seen another artist really do that before. It's just such a shame that it's a pip deck, is what I have to say. Like at least you do get 22 beautifully illustrated cards. But I would have loved a fully illustrated deck, personally. So it's not my favorite, but I still like having it in my collection. I will use it every now and then. It's just not one I pick up often. All right, so the final deck for the earthy category is this Oracle deck, and it is actually discontinued. So I apologize. There are some discontinued decks in my collection. Now, this is from Layla and Olive. It is the Maiden Oracle. All I have to say is if you really enjoyed this deck, she has so many other decks. They're all very similar style. So if you like her art style, go check out her website because there's so many other options. Even if there's not this one anymore, go check out her other decks. They're gorgeous. So these are the insides of the box, first of all. Like everything she does is so beautifully crafted. The book I'm not in love with. And I'll tell you why. If you love poetry, you'll love the book because the book is literally poetry. but it's literally poetry. So like if you're looking for something to help, at least for this deck, I don't know what the other decks are like, but for this deck, I was looking for something to actually help read it a little bit because it's not the easiest deck to read. And I was stuck with some poetry that I found extremely confusing, and I wasn't fully sure what she was trying to say half of the time, or more than half the time. Like, honestly, 80% of the time, I don't know what she's trying to say in her poetry. It doesn't help guide in any way. It's just kind of like a cute little added piece of artwork. The cards are gorgeous. So these are the cards. This is the backs. And the fronts are like this beautifully, like almost looks like stained, like tea stained paper. So beautiful. Like her art is gorgeous. The cards are this beautiful gilded gold, and mind you, high quality gilded, because I will show you with some other cards, but you can do gilded gold that literally flakes off when you shuffle, or you can do whatever the heck she did. I honestly don't know how she does it, but these don't budge. Like, it doesn't chip. I don't know what she did, but these are like the highest quality gilding I've ever seen in my entire life. She actually has all the major arcana in this deck, even though it's an oracle deck. So the major arcana are in there, but then she has other cards. So she has a lot of plants. Only downside is that the main word or the key phrase or whatever it is, it's also poetic. So if you're not good with poetry, it's going to be hard to read, especially because you don't have a guidebook that actually explains it to you. So like, for example, this is a persimmon. It says ungiven grin. What does that mean? It can mean anything to anyone, really. But it would have been nice to know what the creator intended it to mean. And that's where it's kind of frustrating. There's the Hangman. So obviously these cards are kind of easy to read because if you know the tarot, then you know how to read these cards. Bay Laurel, this is Root Shields. Hollycock, Bee Cross. So there is some things that are lacking with this deck. It also has goddesses in here, you guys. I think you guys saw Athena for the first card I showed you. They're gorgeous. Like, they're beautiful. And if you're good with poetry, if you're great at deciphering poetry, then maybe these cards are for you. When I first got this, I was frustrated because I love this deck and I literally was eyeing it for the longest time. And I finally bought it when it went on sale because she was getting rid of them. Yeah, I was so excited to get this deck, and then I got it and I was like, oh, can I even read this? And then I'm like, oh, I'll just look to the guidebook, and I'm like, oh, I have no idea what she's saying. So I was disappointed. With that being said, I have found a specific purpose for this in my practice that somehow has made it easier to read the cards. And I'm gonna leave that for another video. Sorry to keep you guys hanging, but it is a completely different topic in itself and a completely different story to tell you guys. I'm not going to share in this video because this video is already going to be super duper long. So we will save this story for another time. All right, so we're moving on to a different category now. We are going to get into my goddess, divine feminine type decks. So let's hop into those. So we're gonna get into this one first. This is the first deck that I got in this category and also one of the earlier decks to my collection. This is the Goddess Power Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, illustrated by Jenna Della Grottegila. I'm so sorry, I totally butchered that name. This deck is really beautiful. It has a full box with like the fancy, oopsies, somehow stuck there, but it's a fancy ribbon. So you pull it, which I totally did not put it in properly. It's usually folded like this. You have a full-size book, which is really nice. The book is in black and white, but it's a really nice guidebook. It has a lot of information in there for you. You get to learn about the goddess and then also the meaning of the card. It's super helpful. And then we have the separate box in the box in the box with the, I literally put this entire thing in wrong. What am I doing? When we have our cards. I feel like it got brighter in here. I'm like, can you guys still see everything okay? Yeah, and then we have another ribbon, which I literally put it in wrong again. It's supposed to be folded this way, so then like, I think I was just super lazy that day. But then you pull it, it makes it easier to come out. You guys get it. All of these are like upside down. What is happening here? Here's the back of the cards. And then we have the cards. So they're pretty straightforward. We have the goddess, the number of the card, goddess, name, and then a main word. So we got Mary, miracles. The inside of the book will tell you about the goddess and like what pantheon or like which, you know, culture they're from, that kind of thing. We've got Hestia, home, Ellen, patterns. I don't know how to say that name, so I'm not gonna try. They're really cool cards. They're really pretty. I don't use this deck a lot, to be completely honest. Every so often I'll pick it up. I often will use it just as almost like an altar piece or like part of a ritual. Like I'll use it as the energy. So like if I want to work with a certain type of energy, a certain goddess, then I will use the card and I'll have it present in like that ritual and that practice. That's honestly how I use it most of the time. Yeah, I often just don't use it as an oracle deck. Just personally, it's literally nothing against the cards, literally nothing against a deck. I just, for whatever reason, I don't feel as called to use this in my personal like divination practice as much as I do in my magical practice. So that's just personal, but it's a very beautiful deck if you love goddesses. If you want to learn more about the various types of goddesses, then it's a really cool deck to get started on that. I am so thirsty. Moving on, so this was the next deck in this category that I got. I wasn't even going in an order before. I'm kind of going in an order now, but I don't know. This video is all over the place. So we've got the Divine Feminine Oracle deck here. The book, I have to say, is thick. Like it's a little one, but she's thick. Yeah, it's just packed with a lot of information. So we have the goddess's name, the main statement about them. So let me just grab one and I'll use it as an example. So Fatima, the mother of imams. I'm so sorry if I say anything wrong. And then it has like a quote or like a line or something. So it's like, love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. Who is she? So it goes into details of the culture and where this, you know, this divine feminine person is. When your soul selects her card. So it goes into like kind of what it means. There's a soul voice meditation. So it gives you like a little bit of a question. So what am I most grateful for in this moment? And then it has an intention. So love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. Is that the same thing I just said? Yeah, so it's the first thing that I started. So yeah, it's pretty thick. There's a lot of information in there. Again, a really good learner deck if you want to learn something, you know, about history, that kind of thing. So the cards look like this. It gives major like divine feminine, sacral energy for sure. The cards are cool. I don't vibe with the artwork in these as much as some other decks. If I'm being completely honest, there's something about the faces that look a little bit weird to me. And I don't know if it's just like it's a lower resolution, a lower quality, but it was one of those decks that I'm like, oh, this is gorgeous when I looked at it online. And then when I saw it in person, I was a little bit disappointed in some of the cards. And when I say these things, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to insult the artist or anything. This is just my honest feeling and what I feel with each deck, if that makes sense. I like it. I have had good messages with this deck. I don't vibe with it as much as some other decks. It just doesn't connect with me the same way. With that being said though, it is still a really cool deck. Like they are pretty cards. Like they're vibrant and that's something I do like. Like I love the colors, this one in particular. Like that's really cool. Her eyes are like this piercing green. Like that one's really neat. That's Bridget, right? Yeah. Freya. So I think the only thing I don't like is just, I don't know, some of the faces just look a little bit weird and blurry, I guess. Like it looks like it's like almost like poor computer graphics or something. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just, I don't know. There's something about it that feels a little weird to me. And I feel mean saying that because they're pretty. It's just, I don't even know if my camera's picking up on it. You kind of have to look at them in person and then you'll kind of maybe get what I'm saying. Yeah, so again, no hatred towards the artist, the creator. It's still a beautiful deck, and I think it's still fairly popular. It's just not the one that I pick up the most. Like, it's not my first choice. With that being said, when things are not my first choice, doesn't mean I don't use them. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. Sometimes there's a deck that I rarely touch. Like, I will literally never pick it up until there's this one day it's specifically calling me and there's a specific message that I was meant to receive that day. And then I'm like, wow, okay, that was super duper accurate. That's usually what happens personally in my life. So the next one is called the Sacred Cycles Oracle. It is an extremely feminine deck. I don't even think I can actually show you most of these cards on YouTube because they're probably not considered appropriate. There's a lot in here about moon phases and seasons and cycles in that sense, but it is heavily focused on the female body. So there's a lot on like our internal cycle, menstrual cycle. There's like ritual cards, which are really cool, but there's also cards on like different body parts that I can't necessarily talk about in this YouTube video. So I'll try and pick out some of the cards to show you that are appropriate, that won't get me demonetized. But I will tell you, it is a very beautiful deck. It is a very beautiful deck if you want to connect deeper to your feminine, divine feminine, your like sacral chakra, maybe even like learn more about your own body. So it's very informative. The book's very informative. I do really like this company, what they stand for. They even like create a journal that has a lot of information about your body and health and things like that. So it's really nice. Yeah, so like we have different things here. Like we have the word conception. This one's a little bit more appropriate, I guess. But we have like, yeah, we have like seasons, we have moon phases. They're really pretty cards. For the longest time, I had a lot of resistance to buying this deck. It was a really weird relationship. There was part of me that was super duper called to get this deck. Like, I felt like I needed to buy this deck, and I kept on looking at it, and I kept on seeing it on sale on Hay House and stuff. And yeah, I felt like I needed to get this deck, but at the same time, like, I don't want to get it. Like, it's too feminine. I'm like, how do I explain this without telling you guys too much about my personal life? But I'm going to tell you guys a fact about me, and some people are probably going to be offended by it or have a problem with it because that's the internet. But then some people are going to be like, okay, whatever, like, that's an interesting fact. Maybe you'll agree with me too. But I personally, I'm a child-free person. I don't want children. I don't ever want to be pregnant. I don't want to ever give birth. Like, I have a long list of reasons why I've just never wanted to be a mother. And the whole entire world gives you a hard time when you're a woman who has decided that they don't want children. And this could maybe potentially be a video for another time to talk deeper about if you guys want to know more about my stance on child-free. I follow a lot of child-free YouTubers myself just because it's nice to like listen to people talk about something that, yeah, I really feel and resonate with. So because I am child-free, because I am so greatly opposed to personally experiencing birth, like pregnancy, birth, like I don't ever want to experience that. I have so much fear with getting pregnant. I don't want that. I was so turned off of this deck because it is so intensely feminine and traditional, but not at the same time. So it has cards like conception and birth and all these things. And yes, you can see them as literal, but the book does a really good job at explaining the more symbolic meaning of these cards. And like, birth doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're going to give birth to a human child. Birth symbolically means birthing new creations into this world. So maybe it's a creative project. Maybe you're birthing out your book into the world or whatever it is, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that, but because it is intensely feminine and sacral, and I had a lot of personal resistance in my own practice to working with my divine feminine energy. And I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but because of that resistance, I didn't want to buy this deck, but I felt like I had to because it was part of my work, part of what I had to work through at the time. Like I needed to work through my divine feminine energy so that I could then receive, so that other things could work out. It was part of my spiritual journey, and I don't know if that makes any sense. It makes sense in my head, but it's hard to like explain on camera. But yeah, that's just my personal stance, and that was what I was struggling with that particular deck. So this next deck is absolutely gorgeous, like so gorgeous. Oh my god. I was like cross-legged for the longest time and I need a stretch and that really hurt, but I'm stretching my legs now. Okay, so this next deck is so deeply feminine too. So there was a lot of images on here that I was like, oh, am I attracting this stuff into my life because this is so like traditional feminine, pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding, all of that stuff. And I'm like, I don't want that. Am I attracting this in my life? I don't want it. I don't want it. I had to get it. It is the African Goddess Rising deck. And I'm glad I did because honestly, this deck is so accurate. It's always bang on, has really good messages. And the cards, guys, the cards are beautiful. Like the art is beautiful. It's so vibrant. I really enjoy this deck. The book is really cool. It is black and white, but it has a nice little blurb about the goddess, like who they are, what they symbolize, a guidance message, an embodiment message, and then a declaration, like a quote, something to say, like a intention or affirmation is the word I'm looking for. So these are the backs. They are an interesting texture. They are a glossy card, but like the back, like the cards themselves, it's like a glossy, but it's not. Like they're glossy, but they're not slippy like a lot of glossy are. It's like a rougher gloss. I don't know, but they're not rough. I honestly have no idea how to explain it, but I really like the feel of the cards. Okay, so here's some of the cards. I'm gonna have to be careful again, even though it shouldn't be a problem, but YouTube might demonetize me if I show any images that are inappropriate. So, ooh, this one's really pretty. But see what I mean? Like, look how vibrant these cards are. Like I just had, oh, this one's really nice. I just had to get this deck. Like it's just so nice. But it is very like feminine again. Like there are images that, yeah, with a little bit of nudity. So I need to be careful, but they're very pretty. So I'm not gonna show all the cards of the deck, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. I really like it. I really like this deck, and I do pick it up quite a bit because I do resonate with the messages. All right, so because I feel like they're kind of similar themes, I've kind of got a bit of goddess energy in this next one, but they lean a little bit more towards moons. So this next category is going to be moon themed / astrological decks. All right, I'm gonna quickly get this one out of the way because I have talked about it in a video before. So I'm not gonna talk about this in too much detail, but it is my Moonchild Tarot. The book is gorgeous. It's in full color. The thing I like about the book is it talks about the cards, but it has so much extra information. You get information about the moon phases in there. You get stuff about moon bath ritual, imbuing your cards, you know, how to shuffle. You get stuff about the elements. There's just like a lot of information. The cards themselves have descriptions of like what the card symbolism is showing, some key words, some inquiry, so questions that you might want to ask yourself, the regular meaning, the reversed meaning. So there's just so much. This deck also has 3 unique cards that are not normally in the tarot, so you get some bonus cards. The cards themselves are thick. It is a little bit difficult to shuffle, I'll give you that. You kind of get used to it, but if you have really tiny hands, it's not the easiest to shuffle. So just to be completely honest with that. Oh yeah, the gilding on these cards are kind of similar to that other deck. They're not as shiny, but the gilding does stay put, just like this one I showed you. So yeah, you don't have to really worry about chipping and stuff, which is nice. These are the backs of the cards. They have that gilding, like the gold on this side too. It's very shiny. And the first card has nudity on it, so I'm going to change it. But let me show you guys some cards. There's the Hierophant. There's the Sun, I believe. Yep. 3 of Cups. So this is a Danielle Noel, or Danielle Noel. I never know how to say her name. But this is one of her decks, and she's the one that actually illustrates a couple of Rebecca Campbell's decks, or has illustrated a couple of her decks. But this is her artwork. Like, this is her work, her artwork. This entire deck is by her. She does have some other beautiful decks. I really want her Starseed tarot cards. I haven't gotten those ones yet, but yeah, they're very beautiful too. But yeah, honestly, I love this deck. I have no negatives to say about it other than the fact they're very heavy and big, so they're not easy to shuffle. But that is honestly my only thing I have to say about them. Other than that, like, they're really beautiful. I really, really enjoy them. I feel like I'm gonna have to start making these a little bit more snippy, quick, because otherwise I'm never gonna get through all these. So we're gonna try and do the speed round version. I'm gonna try and talk a little bit less. Let's go. Moonology Oracle cards. Beautiful. Yasmin Boland. Can't go wrong with Yasmin Boland. These cards are one of my first Oracle decks I ever got. The book is great. Has a lot of information. Yasmin Boland is an author herself other than Oracle cards. She has written books, so best believe the book is really good. These cards are fantastic. You can kind of add them into any reading. They have the moon phase, they have some key words. It's just very intuitive. It's beautiful, it's simplistic. I really like these cards. Honestly, 10 out of 10. They've always been super accurate for me. A great way to kind of get started in moonology, astrology. I'm going to go into these ones next because they are by the same person, Yasmin Boland. These are our newer ones. This is Moonology Manifestation Oracle cards. And I totally forgot, but I do have a full walkthrough of this deck as well. She actually has a 3rd deck coming out that is on pre-order. I'm not sure if I'm going to get them. I don't feel as called to them as I did these decks. Just like the other one, the book is solid, lots of information in there. The cards are gorgeous. Different artists this time, so the style is a little bit different, but they're really pretty. Has the little astrological symbol there. We have the moon, so this is the last quarter moon in Gemini, and then we have the saying. So this one says clear your mind. So each of them has moon, has some like key phrase to kind of help you read, but then if you want more, then you go to the guidebook. But yeah, they're beautiful. I really enjoy these. If I were to choose out of the two, although I love the artwork of this one better, I would still pick up this one more often than this one. For whatever reason, this one just intuitively vibes better with me. I just get clear readings with this one. I don't know if it's because I've worked with it longer, but even though I enjoy the look of this one better, this one just, I don't know, just vibes with me better. But they're both still very beautiful decks. Next, I'm going to talk about a couple of Stacey DeMarco decks. So the first one I got from her was the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I do really enjoy it because it kind of just has a little bit of everything. Like, it's one of those decks that just has so many different types of meanings and themes and imagery that it's just overall, it feels like it covers all the bases. Like, I get a really thorough reading with this deck, so I really enjoy it. It is a glossy deck, but I feel like it suits this deck and it just feels satisfying personally. We have the book here. Book has a little bit of color in it. It is really nice. Yeah, pretty straightforward. The cards look like this. These are the backs, and then these are the cards. The cards are beautiful. I have to say, guys, this deck is one of my all-time favorites. I pick this deck up for readings very often just because, again, it gives me clear readings. I tend to gravitate towards the decks that I just vibe with energetically the most. And this is one of the decks. It has so many different themes. Again, it just covers so many bases. Sometimes if decks are a little bit too narrow in their theme, they just don't cover as many topics, I feel. And it all depends on how you read them. But this is just one of them that I feel like just covers a lot. So I really enjoy them. Highly recommend. Now, her second deck that I got is the Elemental Oracle. Also really beautiful. The box is really pretty too. I often like to pair these ones with the other deck. If I were to choose between the two, I would still choose the first one every time that I just showed you. Everyone's different though, so you just never really know. Like, a deck can be so beautiful and you can purchase it, but until you get it home and start working with it, you don't know how you're gonna vibe energetically with it. So here are the backs, and then here's the front. And they're beautiful. Like, there's so many different colors and themes. I do love them. Like, I do really like these cards, and I can read with them very well. I just have my favorites, but I do really enjoy this deck. And I do pick it up quite a bit too. There's the, that's a cover image, right? Yeah. It's very pretty. So yeah, I definitely recommend Stacey DeMarco's decks. They're very, very beautiful. All right, so next we're gonna talk about the Star Codes Astro Oracle. So this deck is really cool, guys. This deck is an astrology. I don't know why I said that so weird. This is an astrology deck. I like the guidebook because it's gonna have a lot of information. It's gonna teach you a lot about astrology. This has been one of my ways. Like, yes, you can get an astrology book, but I love astrology decks because it's very interactive. So it's a really nice way to start to learn more about astrology. I find it just often sticks better than just reading, you know, pulling a card and like learning about it and kind of like interpreting it for your own personal situation. So here are the backs of the cards. And here are the fronts. The art style is really like, almost like geometric. It's very unique. They're super different. There's so many different shapes and lines, and it's very, very unique for sure. That one was upside down. Got a few upside down ones here. But yeah, I do really like this deck. I can read with it really nicely. I find it just gives me very clear and detailed messages. And like I said, if you are somebody who's looking to learn more about astrology and you're just kind of like learning beginner, then it is definitely a nice choice to have. So yeah, you're gonna have, you know, the different houses are in there. We have the planets, we have the zodiacs, we have like different other terminology like opposition, you know, retrograde, conjunction, all those astrological symbols that sometimes it takes a while to learn them. You can learn them in a deck. So I do really like this deck. It is very nice. I do pick it up a lot. So highly recommend. All right, moving on. We have the New Moon Tarot. This is an indie tarot deck. Beautiful. It has a tuck box. It also does not have a guidebook. So this one's all intuition, baby. No guidebook. This deck is gorgeous. Unfortunately, the gilding is it's not the best quality. It chips after like just a few uses of shuffling. So you can see all of the places where all the gilding has come off. They're beautiful cards, guys, and I still use them so much. I've gotten over the fact that the gildings come off. I'm like, okay, whatever, it just gives them character. Like, these are really nice cards to shuffle. They feel good in the hand. Like, there's some decks that are just extra satisfying to use, you know? And this is just one of those decks that is just very, all these cards are jumping out now. I'm like, I'm not reading right now. We're just talking about you. This is one of those decks that feels really nice in the hand, but something to be prepared for, because if you're paying for this, for the price that it is, you'd expect it to be better quality. I got these as a gift and I'm super duper grateful because I love these cards. If I bought these with my own money, I would have been probably a little bit more upset this happened within like the first week of using them. So just something to keep in mind if you are interested in getting this deck. It is beautiful. The images are amazing. Like, they're just gorgeous. They're simplistic, but they're really pretty. It's a lot more like nature and animal based. It's very simplistic. Should I turn the light down? Is that better? Maybe that's better. This deck is so bright, so like, I don't want the camera to oversaturate it all. But yeah, like, they're really, like, look how pretty that is. These cards are super duper pretty. And I really love working with this deck. I do. Now, I will say that this definitely kind of teeters on the line of a pip deck. Like, for example, this is the Three of Pentacles. Or we just saw the Ten of Swords. This is the Ten of Swords. Now, the way they're arranged are very unique. So that's why I say it's kind of like on the edge of a pip deck. It actually took me a while to kind of like clue into the fact that this is a pip deck, because it just like, they do it so well. Like, even when you just have like 5 cups or 4 cups or whatever it is, the way they're arranged is so unique that it almost tricks your mind and it doesn't feel like a pip deck as much as other pip decks. Like, this feels less pip than this feels pip, if that makes any sense. Oh, this card is very pretty. This card's pretty. I gotta show you guys this one. Isn't that so pretty? I do love this deck. I do pick it up a lot. All right, so this next deck is by Tatiana Vendenkina. I ordered this deck off of Etsy when it was available. Unfortunately, her shop is currently down, so you can't get it right now, but I'm sure you guys will eventually be able to get it in the future. The guidebook is super simple, but it's helpful. It's cute. I like it. They're cute. They shuffle really nicely. In terms of like the paper quality, it's not the highest quality, but the artwork is so cool. Like, it's so fun. It's so pretty and vibrant. It looks like it glows, and you'll see what I mean. Like, it looks like glow in the dark. But I love this deck. It has moon phases. It has goddesses. It has crystals. It's just like so nice. That's clear quartz. There's the moon phase. So it'll have like the main word or the theme. So like for this one, it's the moon. It says less quarter, and then it says release. Or for example, we have a crystal one here. It says moonstone, and then actually has a few words. It says intuition, divine feminine, and moon magic. So you get some keywords to work with. They're just really pretty. Sometimes I do like the traditional oracle card size, but sometimes I just really love an oracle deck that has cards that are like the shape and size of a tarot deck. I don't know, it just makes it easier to shuffle. Highly recommend. If you can get your hands on them when her store is back up, I highly recommend. And I'm definitely going to be getting her tarot deck when I can get her tarot deck, because these are just so beautiful. Okay, I'm back with a new battery. This is going on so long. I'm literally charging my other battery. These next cards are also kind of moon, astrological themed-ish. I'm putting them in this category because they are from the brand Dreamy Moons by Annie Tarasova. I absolutely love her. She's one of my favorite artists. She's just so fun. I've been following her since her early YouTube days. She's not really on YouTube so much anymore, but I really love her artwork. We have this one I got first. This is her Soul Whispers card deck and guidebook. Everything she makes is made with so much love. There's just like every detail is just beautiful. These cards are a little bit more of like an affirmation card than anything. I put the book in the bottom and now I can't get it out. Okay, I got them. So the guidebook, I just want to show you the guidebook because it is so pretty. Like, she just puts so much detail. Even the guidebook has the foiling on it. The edges are also the gold gilded. And then they're really pretty, really nice. So the cards themselves look like this. So again, just details, just so many details. We have the cards here, and they're just little affirmations. Like everyone's an affirmation. The book has a little bit more information for you to read, but they're super simple, straightforward. I feel like these are the kind of cards that are just really nice for like a pull a day type thing. So this one says, follow the path of least resistance. This one says, open your heart to the magic around you. So they're just really nice messages for like little daily pulls, I feel. And yeah, the next deck is a tarot deck. The box is nice. It has the whole ribbon thing. It comes with a little love letter from Annie. Has a little artwork on the back. It's very pretty. It says, let the stars lead the way. Comes with your guidebook. Super pretty. Has some of the gilding on it. It's actually full color too. On the inside, there's a little message here. I'm not gonna go into all the details. I made a full walkthrough video of this deck. I will try and link all the walkthrough videos I've already done on decks thus far down in the description box. So if you guys haven't seen them yet and you want more details, then you can go click on those, but just trying to get through all of these cards. So we'll keep it simple. The cards themselves are really pretty though, because they're gilded on the edges, but she goes next level, Annie. She does the gilding on the entire card. So you have that gold detailing throughout the entire deck. Like it's just so pretty. Like look at that. And I love how she added the color. Annie's definitely very known for her like black and gold kind of look and very minimal color in the past, but recently she has decided to play with color a little bit more. And I love it. I love what she has decided to do. She has incorporated some of her own cards in the deck too that aren't traditional to the tarot. I think there's 2 in there. But yeah, they're just really pretty. If you're looking for a deck that's super true to Rider-Waite-Smith, then this is one of them that is definitely very much a dupe for the Rider-Waite-Smith. So next we're gonna just hop into my Rebecca Campbell decks. These just didn't really fit in a specific category on their own. So I just decided to just give her her own category. I don't have all of her decks. I never got the rose one. I just don't super duper resonate with it, to be completely honest. But let me start from the beginning in the order that they came out. So this is the Work Your Light Oracle cards. A lot of you have probably seen them. They're very popular, so I'm not going to go into great detail about them. But Rebecca Campbell's books are really nice. They have a lot of information. Her decks are gorgeous. They're very ethereal and like mystical looking. The colors are definitely one of the things that draw me in. And this is definitely one of my earlier decks. I've had these cards for a long time. So I have worked with these a lot. They're really pretty. So yeah, those are the Work Your Light. We also have the Starseed Oracle deck. One downside I'll say to this one is that she kind of made a faulty box. It doesn't really sit on very well, but the new one that came out that has this design, it's a lot tighter, so it's a lot better. This is the only downside to this deck. The box is kind of not so great. But the deck is beautiful. Again, book, black and white. Her books are very simple, but they have a lot of good information in them. So if you're looking for some nice, information to help you with the reading, highly recommend reading the guidebook. Like they do add a lot to the reading. We have these beautiful cards. And yeah, this is, it's the Starseed Oracle, so it's very galaxy, starseed themed. There's a lot of stardust and things like that. They're really pretty. Like I do really, really love these cards. Just go a little quicker here. But yeah, highly recommend. I have literally nothing bad to say about her cards other than the fact that this box is kind of annoying. I didn't get the Rose Oracle, which is I think the one that came out after this. I don't know. It was created by a new artist. These ones are created by Danielle Noel. And then her next deck was very much, it felt like she was trying to get her new artist to copy the style of Danielle. And I feel bad saying that, but I kind of got that vibe. And then I saw a lot of reviews online, and the Rose Oracle looked like it was just like almost like a carbon copy of these ones two put together, because a lot of the cards were just so similar. Like even like the meanings and the like keywords were just so close to the cards in here. And like people were straight up saying, if you got these two decks, like you really don't need the Rose one. So I didn't feel called to that one at all. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pass on that one. But this one, the Healing Waters Oracle, super duper caught my eye. So these ones are by Katie Louise. Now I'll have to look into it. I'm assuming that Katie Louise is the one that did the Rose one too, because it might be her new artist, but I don't know. The box is the same shape as this one, but this box is tight. So like it actually secures in there, so it won't fall out, which is great. I love the colors of this one. I love like this like turquoisey aqua kind of blue. There's like little hints of color, but not much. But the guidebook's nice too. The cards are just so beautiful. So if you have been feeling called to work with like water energy, because myself, I have definitely been feeling pulled towards water energy, then you'll love these cards. Anyone will love these cards, but I just felt called to them for that reason. So these are the backs. And then here this is the attunement. So you got a little oracle attunement thing. And then here are the cards, and they're just so beautiful. Like they're all these kind of like aqua colors. They're just so nice. I'm gonna go with these cards next just because they kind of fall in the water theme. That wasn't a water theme, but because we were just talking about water, I don't know where else to put these. So we're gonna talk about them now. This is the Age of Aquarius Tarot, and these were actually gifted from a friend. They're very pretty. They're very water themed. The box is really cool. So it like opens like this, and it has images inside, and it's magnetic. We have a little thank you note from the author. You have the guidebook. The guidebook is really good actually. So the guidebook, first of all, is just beautiful. Like there's beautiful colors in this book. It's really nicely put together. The book has lots of information. It talks about what the Age of Aquarius is, what the awakening is. It talks a little bit about astrology and tarot and like the different planets. Talks about how to work with the tarot, working with the moon, working with crystals. Like there's a lot of extra information in here. And then it has the cards. It tells you like the upright meaning and reverse meaning, different correspondences, including like stones and crystals and signs. And there's just like so many different types of messages you get in here. I'll give you like a little visual of the layout, but they're just really, really nice cards. The gilding is like this beautiful kind of silver rainbow vibe. They're really pretty. These are the backs. So these cards are tarot cards, but she does add some of her own cards to them. So you probably will see some cards as I flip through that aren't traditionally in the tarot, but they're her like added flair to the deck. Like this one. This one's not usually in the tarot. It's a very interesting card, and the book goes into what it means. But there's some really cool images, and they're beautiful. And it's the Age of Aquarius, so it's very water themed, so you get a lot of blues in here. They're very pretty. They're very like mystical too. Kind of like a similar vibe to Rebecca Campbell's decks in that it's very like wispy and mystical. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this deck other than the fact that the cards are big and they're thick. So shuffling is a little bit challenging. If you have really small hands, it's probably going to be a little bit difficult and take some getting used to for sure, because the cards are huge, but they are very pretty. So now I'm going to quickly go over my 3 Prism and Fleur decks that I have. I'm not going to go in detail because I actually have walkthrough videos of all of these. We're just going to quickly go through these. These are the Astro Realms Crystal Oracle. Beautiful deck. The book also has a lot of information. I love the guidebook. The cards are gorgeous. Now these are, I think 33 cards? 33 cards. So it's smaller than your average Oracle deck. Not as many cards, but I feel like it's fine. Like they're really nice cards. I love this deck. It reads really well, so I don't really care so much about that. Now the cards include lots of symbolism. It has crystals. This one has a snake in it. It's got often some astrological references and imagery. There's a lot to unpack in these cards. They read beautifully. I do pick them up a lot. I love them. All right, so the next tarot deck that we're going to talk about is the Accurate AF Tarot. It's really cute. Comes in a square box. Now this one, when it was first launched, did not come with a physical guidebook. It opens like this. We have the cards, which are circular, which is really cool. And then we have a little note, like a handwritten note, which is really cool. But then inside, you get this little QR code. So you scan it with your phone and then you actually download the digital guidebook onto your phone. Now, she has since then created a physical hardcover beautiful guidebook. It's on Etsy. I kind of do want it eventually, but right now I really don't need it. Like, this deck is so easy to read intuitively, so I've just been doing that. Now we have the fronts here. There's gilding on it. So this one is very close to the quality and gilding of this one. So I don't know if they're like getting their gilding done at the same place, but like it stays put. It doesn't get like scratched or ruined or flake off, which is really nice. They are a rose petal finish, so they're very smooth to the touch. They have the name of the card and then also some keywords. I'm not going to go into too much about them because again, I have the video, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I really like these cards and it reads well. Like, I get really good messages from this deck, clear messages. And when I say really good messages, I don't mean like it's just all puppies and rainbows. Like, that's not what I mean. Like, the deck still tells you what you need to hear, but I get clear messages from it. And that's what I mean when I say I get good messages. And then we have the True North Tarot from Prism and Fleur. Again, I have a video on this. Also magnetic. Oops. Comes with this cute little card. It has a note on it. Again, guidebook. It's adorable. Very simple. And then we have the cards. Now these ones definitely caught my eye because they look like Polaroids. So they're very cool. They're very unique. I'm gonna turn my camera down, like brightness down for these ones, just because it's gonna be hard to see them. So these, they have the pictures of like the Polaroid, and then they have little drawings of like gilded silver over top. So you can see what I mean. Like, it's holographic images that are over the pictures. So it's like photography then with these. So they're really cool. I do enjoy this deck. I do enjoy using it. I'll be 100% honest with you guys, after having kept it and like worked with it for a while, it doesn't read as easily as the other one. I do find I read easier with the Accurate AF Tarot over this one out of the two. Just a personal thing. It's not going to be the same for everybody, but I just find whatever reason, I just read better with the other deck. In terms of shuffling, they shuffle pretty, there goes a card. They shuffle fairly easily. They do have like the sharp edges because they're Polaroid shaped, so it's not as comfortable in your hand. And I will say this, they shuffle a lot better the longer you have them. They have to kind of get a little bit like shaken up a bit, because when you initially get this deck, it's like they stick together so much that like you get 50 cards. When you like try and shuffle them, they just like half the deck falls out because they're just so stuck together. So this one is a deck that definitely needs a lot of working in. Like, you gotta, it's like shoes, like you gotta wear them out a little bit so they kind of fit well. It's kind of like that, but I do like it. It's really unique. It's beautiful. The box is just high quality, beautiful. I do really love her work. Her artwork is just gorgeous. So these next two decks are from the artist Hughes. We have an Oracle and we have a Tarot. Let's do the Oracle first. This was the first one I got from him. So it looks like this, and it is the Dreamscapes Oracle deck. It's very beautiful. This is just such a cute little deck. Like, this is one of them that just super caught my eye. I'm like, I need that deck. I was at a like a full moon gathering I went to, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this deck? And we got to pull a card from it, and it's just really gorgeous. We have a little guidebook. It's super simple. Like, you got a picture and you got a page with the description. Simple, simple, simple. Nothing too fancy in there, but that's okay. Now the backs of the cards look like this. And actually, I have a full video walkthrough of this deck too, so I'm not going to go into too much detail either. But the one thing I don't love, and I don't like when creators do this, and I get that they're trying to like put their mark on it, but there's like a little number on the card. I don't love that. Kind of ruins the artwork a little bit. But it's very tiny, so it's not that big of a deal, but I just don't like when they put the little, you know, copyright thing. But oh well, it is what it is. The cards are gorgeous. The art's just pretty, and they're also gilded. Or like foiled, I guess is probably the proper word to use. They're foiled. So yeah, they're really nice. There's lots of different themes. You can read them intuitively or just pull out the book and it'll give you a clear message of what the symbolism means, because there's little like stories or mythology and things around the cards. So yeah, I really like these ones. And then I have the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. These ones are also super gorgeous. I love the color of the box too. I'm gonna like turn my brightness down again, just because it's hard to pick up on these lighter decks on camera. Cards look like this. This one does not have a super nice guidebook. You literally just get this little paper thing. It has some simple meanings in there, but I don't know. I just read them intuitively. I don't really pay any attention to that little book. Here are these cards. And then the images do not pick up well on camera just because they're so light. The colors are these super pale colors, so it's harder to see it on camera. It looks nicer in person. Yeah, we have a lot of foil on these cards. I love these cards. They're pretty easy to shuffle, easy to read, because again, it's very traditional imagery in there that we're all very familiar with if we read the tarot. So yeah, definitely love his cards. We are getting there. I think I finally have more cards on this side of me than I do on this side of me. So I'm gonna quickly fly through these ones because you can't get any of them anymore. And I did talk about them in my first ever deck video, so you guys have seen them before, but they are my Doreen Virtue decks. So we have 4 here. The first one I ever got from her was the first deck I ever got in my entire life, which is the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins. Love this deck to this day. Super simple guidebook. Cards are so cute. They're just really cute. They got mermaids in them, they've got fish, they've got dolphins, they've got some really cute messages. They're super clear, super easy to read. I love this deck. This deck is a very gentle deck. It's very nice to have, comforting. This deck's not going anywhere. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep all of my Doreen Virtue decks. I think I probably will. You can't get them anymore, so they're kind of like a nice collector item, but this one is my favorite. The next one I really like, I would say my second favorite, is the Crystal Angels Oracle cards. This was a collaboration between Doreen Virtue and Marius Michael George. Love these cards too. We have angel messages on them. We've got crystals on them. The book is super straightforward, black and white. The cards look like this. They're also glossy. All of these cards are glossy and very pretty. I do really enjoy these cards. These ones are not going anywhere from my collection. They're really pretty. And they're just like, it's another really nice gentle deck when you're feeling kind of down, you feel like you need some support. That one and also the Mermaids and Dolphins one are a top favorite Doreen Virtue decks. Now these next two, I'll be honest, I do not use as often. Once I got to using them, like the messages didn't resonate as much and I was a little bit disappointed, but they're kind of like a staple collection piece now that Doreen Virtue has decided to just never have any of her decks printed again. She basically wanted everyone to burn them and get rid of them because she was always a Christian woman. but then she just renounced basically all of her life's work because she decided that everything that she was saying was evil. And then she like basically became this born again Christian, even though she was always Christian, but she was definitely one of those staple paving the way people for the spiritual community. So how are your angel and your mermaid and dolphin decks evil, Doreen? But okay, I'm not going to go too much in detail about that. You guys, if you haven't already seen all that, there's so many YouTubers that have covered this story. But I also have these magical unicorn oracle cards. I love the color of the box. I'll be completely honest. When I saw these online, it was the box color that really got me because they're just so pretty. Again, guidebooks are really simple. The cards are pretty. They're gilded. They chip a little bit though. The fronts look like this. Backs look like this. There's a little message. This one says very soon. This one says light, decide, water, try something new, share. So they have like a main word, and then there's a bit of a like message on the bottom too. So obviously this is a unicorns deck, so it's gonna be all unicorns. And then my magical messages of the fairies deck. This one I feel like I'd super resonate less with, specifically because there were some cards in here that are just never gonna vibe with me. No matter what, like maybe if I was reading for someone else it would make sense to use it, but for like me personally in my own practice, there's some cards in here that I'm like, okay, like whatever. I don't know. Like this one's cool. Everything's okay. Talking about like not worrying. Anyone can relate to this card. But then we have pregnancy. And it's like the birth of a child brings great blessings to you in the world. Can we make it a little bit more symbolic? Because like I said to you guys earlier, I don't want to be pregnant. I never want to experience pregnancy. If I were to pull this card, I would have been like, oh my God, and like freak out because I don't want that. I don't like that it's so straightforward pregnancy. At least other decks are like birth. Like could be a literal birth, but maybe you're birthing something into this world like creatively or something like that. Or like daughter. The answer to your question involves your daughter. Like it's so specific. Like I don't have a daughter. Or I don't know. I feel like there's other ones. There you go. Sun. There's a sun card too. Your son is watched over and protected as he explores the world. I mean, I would just assume that those cards just wouldn't come out for me. But realistically, like if they fall out, I'm gonna be like, what does this mean? Like this doesn't resonate with me at all. So now you guys understand like this deck, I don't know. Maybe again, if you're reading for someone else that's a mother, it makes sense. But I had no idea when I ordered it online that those were gonna be some of the cards. And I'm like, okay, I don't resonate with this deck. So it's kind of one I just have because it's like you literally can't get it anymore. I haven't decided if I'm gonna sell it yet or what I'm gonna do. So next we're gonna go through my more Rider-Waite themed decks. Some of them that we already went through are fairly Rider-Waite Smith, and some of the other ones that we will be going through are also very Rider-Waite Smith, but they're in a different category. If that makes any sense. I don't know. We're just going with it. So we have my giant Rider-Waite tarot deck. This one's ridiculous. This was a weird impulse purchase. I do use it in my practice for certain things. I don't read with it because it's so big. Like look how big this deck is. You physically can't get your hand around it this way. Like this way you can kind of shuffle. But you can't shuffle it like this. It's too big. I mean, there's nothing else to show you. This is a traditional tarot. You guys are familiar with the images. Usually we'll just use this deck if I want to bring in a certain energy. So like, for example, I don't know, maybe I want to get some movement going in my life. Maybe I feel stagnant and I want to do a spell or a ritual about that. Then I might pull out the Chariot card and then use my little card stand and then keep this on an altar or wherever I'm practicing. So I use these cards as more as the energy for certain rituals and spells. That's how I incorporate this into my practice. So it's not a waste, like I will use it, but I just don't read with it because it's just that difficult to shuffle. But for whatever reason, I'm like, I want these giant cards. They're so cool. My next deck is in here, I can't remember where my tuck box went for it, to be completely honest, but it's in a little baggie. We have my Bright or Vibrant, is it Bright or Vibrant? I can't remember. Rider-Waite Smith. So they look like this on the back. They are the traditional Rider-Waite Smith images. They're just more vibrant. They're different colors. So instead of having the more muted colors, I felt like getting something a little bit more vibrant. So yeah, that's the only difference. Then I have this one. It's my travel edition Smith-Waite Tarot deck. It is one of the decks that was made to pay tribute to Pamela Colman Smith. She was left so unrecognized for so long, so there's been certain decks that have come out to, you know, really appreciate her. So this was one of them. They are baby cards. They're really cute. It's a nice travel one. I specifically really like this travel deck too because it comes in the tin. So like, for example, if you put in your bag and for some reason something spilled in your bag or whatever it is, like maybe you have a water bottle, you don't have to worry about the cards getting ruined because they're protected by the tin. So that's really nice. I'll show you the cards in a second. But this deck comes with this little booklet, and not only does it have the basic meanings of the tarot cards, but it does have a little introduction about the tarot and also a little bit about Pamela. I really liked that part of it. It just had like a little bit of extra information in there. And then we have 2 extra cards here. Like these are just pieces of artwork from Pamela. So it's just like a fun little extra thing if you really want to learn more about Pamela Colman Smith, which let me just backtrack a bit because I totally forgot to mention that this deck also had a little tribute. So it comes with this big card here. You can see a picture of Pamela on there. So it actually has a write-up about Pamela on here. That was also a nice addition to this deck too, is it does give you a little bit about her. But anyways, here are the cards for this deck. And yeah, again, they're like very antique kind of looking, very like original vibes. I also want to talk about this deck in this category. It is my Modern Witch Tarot deck. I have talked about it on the channel before. I've done a walkthrough of it, so I won't be super detailed about it. I'll tell you about my pros and my cons with this deck now that I've worked with it more. The box is cute, but if you pick it up like this, it'll fall apart. So just something to keep in mind. The book it comes with is really nice. It is actually a little hardcover book. The pages are in black and white, but I do like the hardcover touch with the color on the front. I feel like that is a nice added touch. You also get this little message card that says, "You are a badass being full of life, love, and possibilities. Through this deck, may you find a path to your best self." This deck has 2 cards for the Ten of Swords. One is just the Ten of Swords and one says everything is fine. Yeah, the cards look like this. Now the cards are almost plastic. They're like this laminated plastic material, which when I initially got the deck, I was super for because I'm like, oh my goodness, they're water resistant. They're super like nice and protected. They're never gonna get ruined, which is a positive. But as I've worked with them more, I don't love the shuffle on them as much as a traditional deck that is more of a papery deck. I think overall having paper just is better for cards over this plastic stuff. Mind you, like they don't shuffle horribly, but I know a lot of people don't actually like the plastic. So yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world. The cards are beautiful, and I'm not gonna get into detail again because I have a video and I'll link it below, but it is a very inclusive deck for the most part, in terms of body shapes, skin color, hair texture. It is a very feminine deck though, so we don't see as much male energy, so it is a little not inclusive in that way, but I do really like it. I do like how it's more modern, like for example, where did it go? I just had her. The Hermit, for example. Look, she's got a little laptop there. So it's very modernized. Again, if you want more details, see that video. All right, so next I'm gonna show you my themed decks because they're like specifically themed. You'll understand what I mean in a second. One of them is Tarot of the Divines. This one is inspired by deities, folklore, and fairy tales from around the world. So it is like a fairy folklore themed deck. It comes in a nice box. It's a really cool texture. Do you hear that? I just became an ASMR channel. Guidebook, super straightforward. There's not a lot of detail per card. Like there's multiple cards on a page. Box looks like this. It has a little ribbon. The cards are this really cool texture also. Like they're really nice. Backs look like this. And every single card is based on a specific myth, folktale, fairy tale, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of story to be interpreted from these cards. The book gives you a little bit, but it doesn't give you a lot. So you can always do your own research. I do know that she sells, is it she? I don't actually know if it's a she. I don't actually know anything about the creator. I am so sorry. But the creator has a book also on Amazon that has more detail about the fairy tales. So like an extra book on top of the book that comes with this deck if you want a little bit more. I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen some good reviews, and I've also seen reviews saying like they wish they got more from it. And I'm like, oh, like you come up with another book to give more, but then people still feel like they're not getting enough. So I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I may not. I do like this deck though because it is very Rider-Waite Smith style. So though it's different fairy tales and stuff, you can still very easily read it. The imagery is very straightforward. The next one is my Dungeons and Dragons tarot deck. I am getting winded, so I'm gonna make this super quick and fast. But this one, I also have a video on specifically going into detail about this because I did a video with my boyfriend because he used to play Dungeons and Dragons. So he had better knowledge on this theme than I did, and he was actually the one that ordered me this deck. So there is a guidebook, but it's a little bit limited on what it tells you about what things mean. So if you guys are interested in this deck and you want a little bit more clarity on certain things, I highly recommend checking out that video because we do go into fairly good detail about the different characters and stuff you get. But even the suits in this one are changed. I'm not going to go into detail here. It's just too much right now. But they're really cool cards. They're really pretty. The texture is very similar to the Tarot of the Divine, and also the box is basically like the same. I think they're made by the same publisher, to be completely honest. Yes, they both have the same publishing company. So that is why they are so similar. I do enjoy these cards. I don't pick them up a lot just because I still need to really memorize and figure out some of the suits because they don't put the suits on the actual cards themselves, and some of them are hard to distinguish, so you don't really know what card you're looking at. This is one that requires a lot of work with it to kind of get used to it. My next deck, I also did a video on, so once again, won't go into detail, but we got Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Love this deck so much. I was so excited. This is another pre-order. I love Buffy so much. I am such a Buffy nerd. This deck is gorgeous. I will tell you, one of the cons is that the guidebook isn't 100% accurate. It looks like over the course of creating this deck, they decided to switch out certain cards for other images, and then they just didn't update the book or something because it'll be explaining something that is completely different from what's on the card. And I did talk about this in my last video about it. So guidebook sometimes helps, but it sometimes doesn't. So unless they've recently fixed it or intend on fixing it, don't be surprised when your guidebook's a little bit messed up and you're like, well, what's going on here? Because there was a lot of cards in there that were not matching the actual cards in the deck. Other than that, everything is really nice. The box is nicely made. We got a ribbon. The cards are beautiful. They're like these pink and purple colors. They're really fun. And overall, the images on these cards, can you focus, please? Overall, the images on these cards are really like appropriate for the Rider-Waite Smith imagery. They also are, you know, really just like accurate overall because you see the card and it almost takes you back to the scene, and it just makes so much sense. Like you look at it and you're like, that makes so much sense. Like the tower is literally like this tower that like Glory's minions made. And like the devil card is literally like evil version of Willow when she gets too consumed by her magic. The Three of Scythes, or which is normally the Three of Swords, but it's scythes in this deck, is the episode where Buffy's mom dies. Like there's just, it all makes sense. Every single card makes sense for the storyline. The art is beautiful and you don't even need the guidebook. If you are an avid Buffy fan, you know the storyline and you also know the tarot, you're gonna have no issues reading this deck. It is so amazing. So let's hop into my couple of spirit animal decks that I have here. So we have Spirit of the Animals Oracle. They're really pretty. They're huge cards, so they're not easy to shuffle. That's the only thing. We've got our guidebook here. Pretty straightforward, black and white. We got our cards. It comes with this weird like card spread thing, poster. I don't use it, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't really care for like decks that come with this stuff. Like I just feel like it's not necessary. I don't know, maybe some people use these things, but I don't. You can't even put the cards on here. You can kind of use it as an outline, but the cards are too big to fit on here. But like it's like this big thing. In my opinion, if you're gonna make something like this, make it so the cards fit on it. Otherwise, you could have just made this on a sheet of paper that could just easily, like, or a card that could have easily fit in here. Like, this is a little bit pointless in my opinion, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. The cards look like this. And the pictures are beautiful. The cards themselves have the animal, the main theme, and then it has a little bit of a description on it. So you don't even need to go to the guidebook, really. You can if you want more. But like if you're somebody who is new to reading too and is not used to reading intuitively yet, like you can literally get all the information you need from on the card because there's a lot of writing on the card, which I personally don't love. I don't love a lot of writing on my cards, to be honest. I feel like this is too much for me. I would like a just single word and just go intuitively from there. But that is just me. Again, everybody's different. Someone might find this super helpful. The cards are beautiful though. The pictures are beautiful. I love animals, so it's just like a really nice deck to have in the collection. There's an elephant. I love elephants. And the butterflies. Yeah, like the cards are beautiful. They are really nice. So if you're looking for a nice animal deck, it is a nice one to have. But like I said, the cards are huge, so it's another one of those situations where I can't shuffle it this way because I can't physically fit my hand around the deck. So I do have to shuffle the cards like this. And they're not the easiest. They're not the easiest to shuffle at all. So, okay, so the Wild Unknown Tarot, it's not technically like an animal deck, but it is. Like everything in here is just nature and animals. You don't see any people in this deck. It has this little cover, and then we have this situation. So it's one of these boxes, again, that has the full-size book, and then another box inside with a deck. The book is nice. It's hardcover. It's black and white. Very straightforward. We have the picture. We have the description. We have the box. The box is like not the best. Like it's a little too loose. Like you can't just pick it up because it's gonna fall apart. So it's okay. It's not the best, but it's nice. And it has a little, just like a little message inside. It's really cute. These cards were actually the very first tarot deck I ever got. And I don't recommend doing that because they're very like abstract, and Rider-Waite-Smith is the way to go when you're learning the tarot. But I was just super drawn to these cards, so it's the one that I purchased first. But we have the cards here, really pretty. There's some animals. Realistically, I guess I could have put this also under my nature category, but there are a lot of animals in here, so I'm like, I'll just put it with my animal decks. But yeah, they're really pretty. I like how it's black and white and almost like sketchy, like not sketchy, but like it's like a sketch, like a pencil scratches. You know what I mean? Like it looks very hand drawn, which I like. And then it has little colorful accents. Like these look like pencil crayons. I don't know, I just really like the look of that. I like the style of art. We are going to go through my other category. These are decks that I just don't really know where to categorize them. They kind of just stand out on their own. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so we have the Light Seers Tarot. This is another very common, well-known one, so I feel like you guys probably have seen this one before. The cards are very vibrant. They're very beautiful. Guidebook has quite a bit of information. Like, it's a good size. It's black and white. Cards look like this. These cards I find are very easy to read. For me personally, I find I read them well. I find I get good messages from them, like really clear messages from them. They're beautiful. I love the images. They're just really colorful and fun. And I have zero negative things to say about this deck. Like, I literally have no cons. I love this deck so much. And it shuffles like super, super nice. Like, the cards are so smooth. There's nothing like just a satisfying shuffle, you know? So yeah, I love that deck. Literally nothing bad to say about it. And then by the same artist, we also have the Muse Tarot. This was given to me. My box is faded because the friend that gave it to me kept her tarot decks on her windowsill. So it's a little bit bleached by the sun, but it's okay. It gives it character. We have the book. We have the cards. So pretty. They're very pretty. So the Muse Tarot, very artsy, very kind of abstract in certain ways. But some of the cards are also like this, which is really cool. But there's a lot of imagery in these cards that you can work with. They're packed with so many different images, patterns. Like, there's just a lot going on in these cards, which some people might find chaotic and hard to read. And I'll be honest, this is not an everyday deck for me. This is a deck for certain moods and when I'm feeling called, because there is so much going on in them. But I do really like this deck. It is super beautiful. And like I said, the depth of the images gives you a lot to work with in your reading. Next, we have my Sacred Self-Care Oracle. This is by Jill Pyle, but the illustrations are by Tatiana Vendinkina, who is the one that created this deck. This deck's so fun. It's really cute. The guidebook, simple, black and white. The cards are just adorable. I love the purple and pink backs. I love these pictures. They're just so pretty. So this deck is all about self-care. And this deck is going to be, yeah, just like basically things you can do to take care of yourself. So like maybe you just want like a little prompt. You shuffle this and you're like, I feel like I need to give myself some more self-care. Like, I haven't been doing things for myself lately. I'm gonna take a moment, shuffle. Let's just see right now, like, what do I need for self-care? Apparently I need movement. And I actually did a little bit of that this morning, but maybe I'll do some more later. So yeah, it's really cute. It's not like your usual readings deck, but it's good if you want to get clear on self-care and maybe what will benefit you right now. Also, let's go into this one next. So this is Sahara Rose's deck. It is the Yogic Path Oracle deck. It's got a huge extensive box also.
And I completely forgot, but I also have a full walkthrough and review of this deck.
I used to just love the extraness of things like this with like the full guidebook and stuff. It's nice. I've recently have been drawn more to the simplicity of a single box, to be completely honest, just because this just takes up so much space. And as someone who collects tarot and oracle decks, it's a lot. Like, you have to be careful with how much space, you know? So I don't know. It's beautiful though. The guidebook is like a kind of like a heart-ish cover, and it's got the foiling on it. Got all these colors, like it's just fully color illustrated. It's a beautiful book. And then you have the second box, which I don't know why, but these boxes are always just really loose for these ones. I don't know what it is, but they just kind of fall apart, which is a little bit annoying, but they're really pretty. Like, the box is gorgeous. Let's just bring this down a bit. There you can see the colors better. My camera keeps focusing on my face when I'm trying to make it focus on the cards and the box and stuff, and it's driving me crazy. The box is cute, has a ribbon, it has this little thing inside that says, may these cards bridge you to your highest self. And then it has the cards. So here are your cards. They're gorgeous, like they're really pretty. And here are your images. You know they're gonna be good when Danielle Noel's in the mix. Like, she's just such a beautiful artist, right? So yeah, this is, can you focus, please? Again, it keeps trying to focus on my face. I'm just gonna hide behind the cards. Come on. Yeah, all the keywords on the cards are in Sanskrit. So my only con with this deck is that sometimes it's hard to intuitively read. You could just read based on the images, but if you want to know what the word is, you're gonna have to go in the guidebook unless you happen to read Sanskrit. So this is a deck that I will use for myself, and then I'll read the guidebook, but I don't usually read for other people with this deck just because I don't know it that well. All right, so next we're gonna go through the dream reading cards. This is a very unique deck. Yeah, this one's super, super different, and it was a gift. It has a magnetic box. It's not one I've seen talked about a lot online at all. It's very different. It's got a beautiful guidebook, full color, like a regular size book. It's really nice. It doesn't have one with an extra box, like the cards are kind of just in one of these things, which I don't mind. A lot of people don't like them, but I don't really care. So this deck has two parts. So you get your dream cards. It just says dreams on them. Dreams. So these are going to be your dream themes. So these are just different themes that you might have encountered in your dream. Because the whole point of this deck is to help you interpret and understand what your dream was about. These are the cards. Like, for example, this is vehicles, car. This one says celebrations, social occasions, spiritual guides, water, possessions, naked, food. So these are just like colors, numbers, birth, babies. These are different themes that you might encounter in your dream. They have the main ones in here, but my only con is that sometimes there's certain themes that come up and I wish there was a card for it. But there's a very limited amount of cards. So it's just like, okay, like I feel like there could have been more. But with that being said, it has been a really cool tool. And I personally, and I'll show you the other cards in a second, I personally love anything dream related, and I do a lot of dream interpretation myself anyways. So I have been interpreting dreams long before I had this deck. So for me personally, it's just like a cool added tool that I have used in my practice. I kind of already have an idea of what my dream means, but it's kind of like an extra confirmation, an extra thing to work with. And I have had a lot of success with understanding dreams with this deck. So I do really enjoy it. The other cards are the Oracle cards. And yeah, these are gonna be cards that you pull to kind of add to the understanding of the dream, if that makes sense. So you're gonna pull out specifically, you're gonna look at the cards for these ones and pull out the ones that pertain to you. So like maybe I had a weird dream about these weird games or something, and then I also had an exam, like I was late for school and I had an exam or something, like I'm back in high school, because I have those dreams. Do you guys have those dreams? They're so annoying. Anyways, maybe these are some of the things that had happened in my dream. I pull these ones out intentionally, knowing what's on the card. These ones you don't look at. You would shuffle and just see what falls out. So we got nurture. Okay, so then how does this pertain to this? What about this is trying to be understood for us, or I don't know, there's something in here, like you kind of have to interpret them together with your own intuition and your own reasoning, if that makes sense. So these are the cards for the Oracle cards. This is kind of what they look like. They're really pretty. Like they're cool and they're really pretty. This is not one of the decks though, even though they're beautiful images, this is not one of those decks that I'm like, oh, I love it because it's pretty, which isn't always the case either. Like a lot of the decks, I'm like, okay, I like them because they read well. But this one's just kind of got its own, it's in its own lane, right? It's different. So yes, those are the dream reading cards. It's by Rockpool Publishing, so I feel like they're probably easy to find. I just haven't seen a lot of, like, there's certain decks that get talked about a lot online on Instagram. That's not one of them. I had no idea it even existed before it was gifted to me, to be completely honest. But when I got it, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is unique. My next deck is a indie deck that I got at a local spiritual shop. You can get it on Etsy too. I will warn you, it is expensive. Probably one of my more pricier decks that I have. Yeah, I mean, it's not realistic for everybody, and it was one that I hem and hawed about for like a really long time, and I had to justify myself. I'm like, should I really be buying this deck? And I finally gave in because it was super duper calling me, and it's still one of my favorites. But it comes like this, so it doesn't even come in a box. It's super indie, but it's beautiful. I love it. It's just, there's something cozy about this deck, but I love this. So it comes like this, has the guidebook separate. The guidebook is really nice. Now this deck, I feel, is really good for personal reflection. I feel like I have used it maybe in a couple readings for other people, but this is one of those decks that definitely feels very personal for me, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's really cool. I'll show you. It's very simplistic style. It's very abstract. It looks like the people in here look like little ribbon people. Like they look like ribbons. It's really cool. And maybe not the best deck again to start with for your first tarot deck, but it's very gorgeous. So anyways, they're a very pale color. Hopefully you guys can see on camera. I have my thing turned down lower now so it's not so bright, so hopefully you guys can see the pale colors. But like, for example, this is Death, this is the Page of Swords, that's the Five of Coins or Pentacles. So it keeps trying to focus on my face. Yeah, they're beautiful, they're very cool, they're very simple. There's the Moon. It's such a different deck. There's the Tower, but like, look at very, very abstract. There's the Wheel. So yeah, just to kind of give you an idea of what they look like, they shuffle beautifully. Like, this is another deck that just feels so good in my hands. Like, they just shuffle so nice. Like, you can shuffle so fast with these. Homebound Tarot, super duper cute. It has like Homebound Tarot on the bag. It has faded though, like it's just a stamp. It's nothing fancy, it's super duper simple. Expensive for its simplicity, but sometimes it happens with indie decks. It's just expensive for them to produce their art, and it's a lot of work. So yeah, but it's very, I don't know, it just feels very cozy and personal to me. It just like, it's a cozy deck. I really, really like it. Next we have these. I think I talked about them in a like witchy haul video or something like that, but it's my conjure cards. I'll be honest, I don't use these a lot. They're really cool though. So these cards are based on a tradition from Appalachia. They're very different than your usual cards. So I'll read the little thing on the back quickly, or at least part of it, so you guys understand. So for centuries, people living in Appalachia have used homemade playing cards for divination, fortune telling, and dream interpretation. This unique deck, created by Jake Richards, is fashioned after the folklore, superstitions, and dream symbols that Jake learned as he grew up in eastern Tennessee. Conjure cards includes 54 cards and 64-page guidebook on how to interpret them, as well as suggested layouts for divination. I'll leave it at that. The box is really cool. It looks like it's wood, but it's like paper that feels like wood. It's so interesting. Comes with a little book. And then the cards are so cool. Like, they're just really neat. But the meanings are a little dark. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, you get some of these meanings, you're like, oh, okay. Like, that's not super kind of you to say. Like, it's not the most upbeat deck, but it's really cool. And when I do use it, I kind of just like to use it intuitively rather than reading the guidebook, just because it's a little bit dark at times. So I'm like, oh, but it's very traditional, I guess. So they look like they're hand-drawn, and they're literally like playing cards. So you see all the, you know, the playing card symbols. You got your diamonds, your hearts, your spades, your clubs. But then we have the little images on them as well. So there's a joker. So yeah, like they're essentially, they're playing cards with images on them, but traditionally people used actual playing cards to do divination and fortune telling and dream interpretation, all those things. So yeah, they're really cool. I got them at Indigo one time. I was like, I saw them on the top shelf. I'm like, oh, what are you? And they're just kind of like a unique thing to have to the collection. Next, we have the Unfolding Path Tarot by Athene Noctua. It's very pretty, guys. Like, you're gonna love the art of this one. I literally have nothing bad to say about this deck. Comes with a guidebook. It's very simple. The inside of the box is really pretty. Looks like this on one side. They're just like some of the cards, basically, like the images from the cards. And then the cards, guys. The art is like so pretty. So the backs look like this, and then the cards look like this. So we have the Empress. Yeah, I'll just do a quick flip through just so you can see some of the cards, but they're just really pretty. This was one of them that I was definitely just drawn to because of the artwork. I feel like us tarot oracle collectors are, yes, we're deck collectors, but we're definitely art collectors in a sense because, yeah, it's just, yeah, I just love the art. They're so pretty. So yeah, they shuffle really nice too. They're not too slippy, but they're like just the perfect amount of slip. They're just easy to shuffle, and my hair is everything. All right, so anyways, highly recommend that deck. Again, all good things to say about it. And then we have this deck, which I literally had my eyes on for years, and I finally got it with a sale. I don't know why I waited so long, but it was just like one of them. I'm like, do I need it? Do I really need it? And like, it was like in my cart so many times. I'm like, do I want to get it? But I'm glad I did because it just has so much. It's, again, one of those decks that just has so much variety. It's the wisdom of the Oracle. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it just covers so many bases and so many different types of readings, which is why I really like it. The book it comes with is pretty thick. It's all in black and white, but it's really cool because it has the essential meaning of the card, then it has the oracle message, the relationship message, the prosperity message, and then the protection message. So you can read them all, or you can read them based on what kind of reading you're doing. So maybe you're doing a reading specifically about money, you would go to the prosperity message. Or maybe you're doing a reading specifically about love, you would go to the relationship message. So it's kind of cool that way. And then the cards look like this. They're kind of like a semi-glossy finish. They feel really nice in the hand. They shuffle really nicely. Yeah, I really like them. I find I get really good readings from them. So far, I've been really enjoying adding them to a reading of like, I'll do like some tarot and then I'll pull some cards from here after. And it adds a lot to the message. So I do really like these cards and I'm glad I finally got them. All right, so these next decks I'm gonna quickly go through because you're not gonna see them super well because they're tiny. These are my mini decks. So I have the Everyday Witch Tarot, which after I got this mini deck, I just got it because it's so cute. I'm like, it's not very expensive, I'll just get a little deck. But now I want the full size because I really, really like this one in particular. The other one I do like too, and I'll show you in a sec. But this one, I would love to have the big size. So I think I eventually will get the big size, but the mini is adorable. And it's like next level mini. You guys saw this mini deck. Well, this is like extra mini. So they're a little bit awkward to shuffle because they're so tiny, but they're so cute. Do you guys like mini things too? Like I follow so many Instagram pages that are just mini, like mini kitchens, like mini cooking, mini, I don't know, just everything mini. I like it. Like those little mini brands, I've been so tempted to buy so many times, but I'm like, I don't need these. Like this can become another really dumb collection that just gets so out of hand and I have too much stuff. And I'm like, I don't need to spend money on this, but I love miniature things. So anyways, the cards look like this. They're super cute. They've got a little witch hat and a broom and a cat and stars. Shuffling them is so ridiculous, but they're so cute. And then I'll have to get really close so you guys can see the really tiny pictures. But yeah, like they're so cute. I love it. They're so witchy. Like, look at her. She's making a potion. The 8 of Pentacles. I love it. So yeah, if you like are super like witchy, like I'm talking like witchy, like Halloween witch, because I mean, we don't actually ride on brooms and usually don't wear hats like that, but it's just, it's fun. It's a fun deck, and I definitely want the full size eventually, because it also comes with a full-sized book. And she also makes a an oracle deck too, the Everyday Witch Oracle. They're definitely on the wish list. I'm just trying to not overdo it. Says the person with the ridiculous Oracle Tarot deck collection, but I am like, I space out my purchases reasonably at the same time. Like, this is over years. I don't just like go wild all the time. To be completely honest, guys, like I do try and budget. This is the Line Strider Tarot Mini. It's a super simplistic deck. I'll be completely honest, I wouldn't get this one in mini again. After working with it, I'm like, okay, I feel like such simplistic images would be better if they were just bigger, like the full size. I don't think it's worth getting the mini of this one, to be completely honest. Like, it's cute, but I think the full size would have been better so you can really see the images. They're just so, oh, this one's not an actual card. Sorry. They're just kind of hard to make out exactly what you're looking at because they're so tiny. They're okay. This is not my favorite. This is one of the buys that I'm like, why did I do that? But like, I'll still use it. I still throw it in my purse. Like, these are like the kind of tarot decks that I'll just kind of throw in a bag if I want to have a tarot deck with me. Like, sometimes you go somewhere and you just like want to have a deck no matter what. So this one is really cute. It just came out. There's also another one coming out with runes. This is the Crystal Ball Pocket Oracle by The Noctua, or Noctua. It's the same artist as this artist or creator. It looks like this. It's this really tiny box. Guys, we are getting to the end. This is the 4th last one. So we're almost finished. The inside of the box looks like that. They're so cute. Now the guidebook is kind of one of these. So it has their meanings on both sides. And then the cards, the backs look like this. Now this is kind of like a complimentary quick answers deck. So the thing with the tarot is you can't really ask yes or no questions. But this one, you can. So we have straight up yes. We've got straight up no. We've got choose a new direction. We've got not the right time. So it's not a no, but it's just like a not right now if you want to focus. Reconsider. This is the sign. So like, you're going in the right direction. So varying degrees of yes or no, essentially. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I thought it was really cute. I wanted it. It's normally like $13 or $14, but then I got it with the 50% off. So I'm like, okay, I'm just like, it was $5. I'm like, whatever. Why not? So we are down to the last 3 decks. Finally. I'm exhausted, guys. I did not realize how much this video would take out of me because I've been filming for like 2.5 hours or something like that. Oh my God, it's gonna be so crazy to edit this video. Okay, so I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you guys because I love you. I need to eat something, oh my goodness. Okay, so these are my Halloween decks. We have, and I'm gonna put my brightness up again because these are a little bit of a darker deck, so I think that's better. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so these are just like fun. It was just like a fun purchase. I went to Spirit Halloween last year and I got their tarot cards. They look like this. They're based on different like mythology and stuff. So they look like this on the back. And then, yeah, so they're just, yeah, they're fun. They're fun, they're spooky. There's mythology, there's Halloween-ish stuff in there. I have to say, I think these were only like $9 or $10 or something like that for a deck that is made by Spirit Halloween. That's super cheap and just kind of like at a fun store. I was pleasantly surprised. The box isn't super fancy. It's even got like 14 plus on the box, so like don't love the box, but the deck itself, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, okay, come through Spirit Halloween. This is like a lot less gimmicky and a lot like nicer than I had anticipated, so it was really cool. Next we have the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. I don't know if I've talked about it on my channel before. I've definitely mentioned it on my Instagram, but you guys have probably seen it before. It's a very popular deck. She has different decks coming out for different Sabbats. So there's other ones out there that I haven't yet gotten that I would love in my collection, but they're just not priority right now. I think she has yet to finish all the Sabbats, but she's making her way through them all. The cards are gorgeous. They have this beautiful red gilding that's so unique. You don't see that one a lot. The backs look like this. Very pretty. I love the red. And then we have the cards, and they just have like a really cool personality to them. I don't know how to explain it. They're kind of dark, but they're fun at the same time. I really like them. All of my like Halloween, Samhain style decks, I only use them around this time of year. I kind of put them away and then I pull them out when it's the season. So these ones are currently chilling on my Halloween table. You guys may have seen in my last vlog. So I kind of pull them out in like September and then use them all throughout September, October. This is my Halloween Oracle and the final deck I'm going to talk about today. It's by Stacey DeMarco, so it's the same one that did this is a really fun deck. Looks like this. The cards kind of just sit in here. The box is bigger because it fits the book. When these cards first came out, they were all glossy, but then her second edition was matte. And I really wanted the matte ones, so I tried to get my hands on the matte ones, and I did, and yeah, I like them better. There's something of the matte that looks less gimmicky or Halloween-y than the glossy, if that makes sense. I don't know what it is. They just look nicer. They look more fancy, like less cheap. Not that they looked cheap. I don't know how to explain it, but the other ones just really felt like gimmicky Halloween to me, and then these ones felt like, oh, maybe I could use it for times outside of Halloween, even though I kind of still use it around that time, but I don't know if it makes sense. They just had a different feel to them. I just feel like the matte are a little bit nicer. Just for this particular deck. That's not how I feel about all decks, but for this particular deck, the matte just looked nicer to me, which maybe is why they decided to change them with the new edition. I don't know. But they have like the keyword and a little phrase underneath. They're really cool. I like them. And my battery is about to die again. So I am going to just wrap this up. That is my tarot oracle card collection, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this time. I don't know how long this video is going to turn out to be after editing, but it's super duper long. So if you guys made it through the entire video, thank you. Thumbs up to you guys, because wow, you are awesome. I hope you guys had fun. I hope it helped you decide maybe what decks you want in your own collection. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day or night whenever you're watching this. Love you guys. Bye.